This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hey, how's it going? Josh Ruben here, coming to you live from South by. Just got back from a grilled cheese truck where they handed out a bunch of phone chargers with labels on it. I want to tell you something about deceiving spirits. Spirits that promise you that they can be paired with anything. But nothing pairs with a spirit quite like SoCo 100. It goes with anything. Lime, cola, soda. Guys, if you drink SoCo 100, it will make you appear as a distinguished spirit, like General Custer's spirit, for example. Southern Comfort reminds you to live comfortably and drink responsibly. And now, here is the Mindhouse podcast interview with Jake and Amir, live from South by Southwest.
The Mindhouse podcast. The Mindhouse podcast with Josh Ruben.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Guys, you know, we're coming to you live-ish from Austin, so
Which camera's mine? This one? That one? What about the GoPro?
I don't have
It's cool.
It's wide.
Oh, there. Yeah. I will never look that way. If my theme song were to play, it sounds something like this. The Mindhouse podcast. The Mindhouse podcast.
Does it sound like that?
Ruben. Excuse me. Ruben.
Sorry.
Ruben. Meow.
Nice. Dude.
Is that it?
In the show, we will have the theme song, so you didn't have to like sing it afterwards.
Yeah, but because it's video, you gotta give them that extra, that extra.
Yeah.
You gotta give them that extra.
The what?
You gotta give them that extra. Can I show the people something at home?
Yeah.
If I was a vampire host, this would be very bad. Excuse me.
Oh, nice.
I'm sizzling, dude.
A sizzle reel, dude.
I'm trying to copy Ben Schwartz's sort of a rapport with you, dude.
Yes, dude.
We don't hang out as often, dude. I'm
Nervous.
character building, sirs. No, I want
Like
my
a
own one.
stepdad
I want
trying
it
to
be
do a
sirs.
bit that his kids do.
Yeah.
Character building, sirs.
No, you're not doing it right,
Screenwriter
Dad.
Father. Character building, guys. You guys, you let me do a live Mindhouse
Yeah,
That was
dude.
fun.
in front of 400 fantastic people.
Yeah, it was fucking great.
The other day, it was amazing. Do you guys think this was a successful trip?
It was definitely. I think I would call it a successful trip.
I would
it
say
was
from
just
start to finish,
jammed.
it was abject failure.
Well,
Start to finish.
Start to
I
finish.
think I think abject might be object with an A in front of it and no
Sorry,
definitional
pure
change.
absolute failure.
Copy
0%.
that.
What was there a highlight for you, or was it all low light?
Yeah, was there a highlight to all of these wonderful? No, you know what? Let's start with the low light.
Yeah.
What was the worst part
The
of
entire
your
trip has been-
of Gumstock?
The worst part, being there with everybody.
Okay, and
That's
the best.
obviously the best part. Being there with everybody.
Being there. I felt
First
like
of all, being where.
I felt like I had a nasty attitude, and it showed.
Yeah, and I would say the low light was Amir being around because
I sort of am a rascal. I'm like a little wet.
rascal is
wet
such a
rat.
kind way to put it. Like you cause mischief.
Just
but
a
you- but you
cowlick
mean
and an
well.
awful attitude.
Yeah.
Just a
You're not
snotty,
Dennis the Menace.
a
You're a-
snotty
Yeah.
voice and if you had a slingshot, it'd be
Yeah.
shooting
You're a
attitude.
virus.
I'm a
It's not
mischief
You'd be
maker.
shooting
He
at
has a-
it, dude. Okay, so the best part then. So you being
No,
around people.
I'm just joking. I loved it. It was great.
Fabulous.
So many live podcasts, so many fans. This is our
Yeah.
first like HeadGum festival. This is
First
probably
time
the
that, like, a
11th.
lot of our podcasts are meeting. Like
Yeah.
all the podcasters in New York and all the podcasters from LA are
Yeah.
all in the same place. It's really exciting.
when I did
Yeah. Yeah. Next.
So you're
just
not
to
listening.
put more gum in my mouth. Another quick question from the Gum Chewing Lawyer podcast. I object to bad conversation. So, one abject misfire, I'd say, was when my sound went off in the middle of the program. No, that didn't happen. So when did you hear that sound? When you got too excited, it was like almost like a kid that couldn't be consoled sound. It was so brief, but so do you? Like every time I breathe in, I'm gonna be thinking about it sounding like a child that might have hurt himself too hard or herself. When the other night did
Did you?
He fell down and he's like doesn't know if he's gonna cry yet.
Yeah, Gypsy just.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Oh, here they come.
Is it gonna be a problem for mommy? With the last time you guys did the Mindhouse, there were maybe 5 podcasts or so. This was like
9 or
maybe
10 on the HeadGum.
6, on HeadGum. How many shows are under the HeadGum umbrella? How many shows are on the network now?
I don't even know.
It should be more. It should be close to 30 at this point.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Go
yeah.
us.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Luckily, most of them are self-sufficient, so like we don't have to do too much work. They just turn out a good product and publish it to HeadGum.
You're really monopolizing on all of these self-sufficient franchises, basically.
Yeah, we're sort of picking them up.
Taking advantage of them because you are Jake and Amir. Excuse me.
a sting operation.
This is content journalism, taking advantage of monopoly.
Gum chewing lawyer podcast. I object to bad behavior.
I abject.
I abject to bad
failure.
behavior. So how does that work? Without getting, you don't need to get into the number details or anything, but
Let's talk the splits. Let's talk the revenue splits. Let's talk the sale rate.
all right, so like
the
10%. So that goes. John gave us. But the more podcasts you have, the more kind of splayed out it is. Does that kind of water down? I'm assuming it doesn't water down ad revenue advantageousness.
No, it's good. The more listeners you have, the more content. Listeners is like houses, so we want more houses. And then the advertisers are like tenants. Once you have a lot of advertisers, then you can once you have a lot of listeners, then you can get advertisers to try to buy as many listeners as possible.
Because if they're and the more popular each of them get individually, that's more traffic, that's more clicks.
That's
and
considered
clicks
a
is
high
how-
rise, all right? Suddenly we're
Copy
dealing
that.
with a podcast that's a Trump Tower, 57
Trump
high
Tower.
luxury floors.
$14 million studio apartment in this proverbial tower.
That's the
We should
first
get into
floor.
real estate.
I'd love
Yeah.
to do that.
Just
love to do that.
flip a home. There's a lot of houses being flipped here in Austin. It's an Airbnb city, so you'll invest $300K cash
We're living in the
flipping
first
one of these
flipped house on our
bungalows.
block, for sure.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is simply, the bank will often loan the asking price offer. So say it's $750, they'll give you a $5. Then you got to make up for that additional $250.
Of
So
course, that's the
what
down
happens?
payment.
Excuse me. What happens is you have to find
Yeah.
that 250
It's just
in cash.
you
in
have
cash.
to have
in
a little bit
cash.
capital
You
right off
do.
the bat. Yeah, otherwise you can't just.
do. I didn't go to college,
No.
so I don't know what any of it means.
Okay.
So don't
But
use
excuse
words
me is my
bigger than I
favorite
need
bit
this much.
that you
Just
do.
tell me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
It is my favorite.
Excuse me. Let's all just say excuse me.
Yeah, but excuse me.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Excuse.
Excuse me. So you guys have a new show. You guys have a show on Vimeo. You can buy it now.
Yeah.
It's around sort of like roughly 14 and a half or more sort of
$14.99, or
really
if
just
you-
rounded up to 15
Yeah.
depending on where you were dollars
Or
for the
you
whole
can,
season.
if you use the coupon code Horny, which will make sense after I tell everybody what the title of the series is. But you can get 15% off.
the series
Yeah.
Price.
Lonely
it's
and Horny.
Yeah.
The series
Oh
is
yeah, it's called
Lonely
Lonely and
and
Horny.
Horny.
Yeah. So
Next question.
Back to real estate.
yeah. So the 250 you'll have to find
Yeah.
in cash.
No.
How did
No,
you
that's the coupon
guys
code.
once you made your college humor exit? How long did it take to sort of come together on an idea where you'd go down the 10 episode path or a show path?
I wonder if we had the idea for Lonely and Horny even while we were doing Jake and Amir.
I think we did. We had it maybe a month or two before Jake and Amir ended.
Right.
Because we wrote a Jake and Amir where Amir was on a date with somebody. And we thought it was really funny, but we were like, I don't know, just to explore the dynamic of an Amir character with a woman in like a relationship context. Because Jake and Amir is all like friendship. So then we just started having all these ideas like, oh, what if you were on a date and you did this? What if your character's on a date and you did this? And we're like, that should just be our next web series. So we sort of started like, loosely thinking of that idea then.
while making sure the characters were different from Jake and Amir, just so it doesn't like.
If you're
confuse the two
listening,
universes.
IAC College Humor.
Yeah, we don't mean
You're
the exact Amir
Berlik
character.
von Vorn, Beryl von Dork. Excuse me, Mr. Von Dork, please. It's not who you're thinking of, and I'm making funny names, and that's all it is. My brain explodes. How many minutes are each episode? Are they 10-minute episodes?
On average 9, sometimes about 10. It's
And,
roughly like 90 minutes of content.
Okay, and so that's about 10 pages per script, right? Is
Yeah,
that roughly?
they printed out the entire thing when we were done. We were just writing like videos.
Oh,
We
wow.
didn't realize how long it would be. Like, and when they printed it out, I'm like, oh, well, we basically wrote a movie.
You wrote
Yeah,
a,
so
It was like
Oh,
100
pages.
pages.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so what was the writing process of writing this? Because this is like slightly more narrative. Excuse me. There's a narrative. Excuse me. A narrative arc. A bit of a narrative arc.
Yeah. It was easier than writing a movie because you don't have to deal with like specific film structure. So we
It was
started
web
off
series
with
structure, which is something that we still.
Okay, so
really
no,
want to do.
not no continuity, but each episode is a standalone episode that you don't necessarily need to know.
necessarily, but it does
Right.
help. There are through lines that do go through multiple episodes.
There are
Characters
if you
that
just started
return,
watching
for
episode
example.
6, you would be like, I think you would think it was funny because it's filled with jokes, but
Right.
you would be like, well, why is this person
Right.
mad at someone?
Yeah.
Right. So in the trailer,
Excuse me.
as I understand, Amir sort of.
No one was interrupting you. That
Excuse
time.
me.
All right.
Okay. As I understand it, Amir's you're inept at dating, more or
Yeah.
less, right? Is that fair to
Yeah.
say? But you're horny. You're lonely and horny.
Yeah.
Really desperate. There's like this cathartic moment towards the end of the trailer. We see you struggle for 75% of it, and then it's a match. And there's this incredible moment where you're like laughing in bed.
Right.
It's just amazing how you kind of. I was trying to look at it objectively, like not just as a fan of Jake and Amir, but if I was just watching this, you really do care about that person. You do
Yeah.
want to see them succeed.
That's the big
You know,
question.
yeah. That hopefully, because so do you guys want people to take away when you introduced it or Headgum, you said this is an elevated Jake and Amir. It's a little
Right.
bigger, bolder, maybe deepened.
Yeah,
is that
more
fair
ambitious.
to say?
Yeah.
I think so.
Ambitious.
More depth.
Definitely more depth, and we're lucky that Amir's just like somehow innately likable. In
Somehow.
like the Amir
I
character
think it's
from
my
the web series.
my chubby cheeks and glasses.
It could be, yeah.
It's hard
you,
to like.
you look like a little
I don't
chipmunk.
have a
and it's so cute.
A little
I
gopher
just wanna
boy.
always pinch your little
Okay.
cheeks.
Don't fucking do that,
Come on.
dude.
Sorry,
Don't
man.
fucking
Your
do
hands
that,
are really
dude.
greasy.
Yeah, I was eating chips.
Are you okay, dude?
I'm okay. Well,
Excuse
your
me.
hands are even worse.
Oh yeah, my hands reek of PB&J. I just want to let you know. And it's a big claw I put on your knee. When you guys,
When you say PB&J,
Oh.
you meant po' boy and jellyfish, right?
that's. I'll have another po' boy and jellyfish
You're an
sticking out
octopus?
between me teeth. Sorry, sorry is an excuse me. Now, what is the? Can you guys explain the classroom setting? That's not. They're not in college. This is like a how to
Right.
date sort of situation. What do you play, Jake?
Amir's character Ruby takes a hooking up, like the game style class, like the class where they teach you to neg women and girls like assholes and all that bullshit. So I'm a teacher who is preaching that to this group of students who are hanging on my every word, and none of the advice works very well for anybody.
Right, because at the end of the day, the advice is only as good as like the person using it. Like you can, I can.
Well, it's
give
also
some-
bad. Like I think the class gives bad advice.
which the teacher doesn't fully believe either.
Right, yeah. Like my character is he's half-heartedly just preaching this book that he was hired to preach. Like
Oh wait, so your character wrote a book?
no,
and then this is-
I think my character
Oh, got it.
like takes the game, but it's not the game in the series.
Right.
But it's like I teach the class based on that book. I didn't write it. They just like I'm almost
It's almost like
an
a
Uber
franchise.
driver.
Okay, so what was the writing process like? It's because obviously you guys have done thousands of short form videos,
Yeah.
say under 3 minutes. For 10-page pieces, did you guys sort of take turns, take passes on scripts? Say you write these 5, I write these 5, and rotate. What are the nuts and bolts?
Yeah. It was kind of like that. It's like a little bit the way we wrote Jake and Amir, which is just like in the same room with each other, trading a laptop back and forth.
Yeah.
Except for this, we did it a little longer.
I think we also had like a list of episode ideas that we wanted to do. Like, oh, this would be a funny episode. Let's
Yeah.
write that.
Yeah.
And then we would write it, and like sometimes it would be 3 pages, and sometimes it would be 7. And then we're like, all right, so if it's a 3-page scene, now what's the other 7? Maybe let's a 7-page classroom scene.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I thought of it kind of like the Louis C.K. thing, where it's like his episodes are either a 22-minute story or like a 7 + 8 + 6-minute story.
yeah,
So we'll
yeah.
write like as much stories as we can, and then we'll like piece them together.
That's a funny thing that comes up in writing too. You probably found what the formula is. Sort of generally, like they'll typically be in the cold open. He's by himself and he's doing X.
Yes.
and then you
Every
go and he's in
episode
the
does
real
have a
world.
cold open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And fortunately for the internet, you don't have to adhere to, like, if one of our stories ended up at 9 pages or the other one ended up at 11,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like that thing where we were writing the pilot and they're like, it has to be 21:30.
Right.
So
well,
cut this
That's the
second
great thing
off.
about
Cut
Vimeo,
this
right? They
joke
let you
off.
have a great
Oh, it needs a
degree
fourth
of,
act here, so
Yeah.
just put it on page 28.
But there's no conflict.
16.9, 16.9. Deliver it 4.3, 480, 780p, sir. Not 781, not 1 over, 1 under. 1 pixel.
23.37 frames per second.
Hi, yeah, again, this is line producer Yevon Jornsen, and I'm calling to just quadruple check
me.
that you are exporting L and Horny. He couldn't even, I don't know, it's just
You didn't want to say the
horrible.
lonely
Yeah.
word. Just horny.
L, like me. And
I got an
horny.
email from my lawyer once that was like, it's really funny that I'm emailing people where the subject is lonely and horny. Like my associate's like, what exactly are you working
The
on?
folks at Vimeo, we went and had a meeting with Laura, who's in development over there, and she was like, every time you say the title, you just can't not smile, like
Yeah.
lonely and horny. Oh, fuck. It's such a great title and sums it up. Does it get a little dramatic in performance for you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
It
you stoked about exploring that as an actor?
It was fun. It was fun because for Jake and Amir, oftentimes the funniest things were just me being the craziest.
Right.
Like at one point, have a fistful of manure that I shove into my mouth, and I'm just eating it and screaming and drooling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
the
peak
Jake and Amir where
Amir.
you eat shit.
Yeah.
And you weren't the only person that ate poop in our web series.
No, other people would eat shit. Will Steven, a character whose entire trait was
There
a
was
guy that
through
eats
line.
shit, a
Yeah,
sycophantic shit eater.
a recurring character in eating poop.
His own shit.
There's also a man named Penis.
Yeah.
Let's not
Yeah,
forget,
There's a man named
sir.
Penis, a guy named Will who eats his own shit. Listen, the internet is a fucking wild,
I'm
wild
telling you,
west.
dude,
we don't
it's
have
all
to,
one
There's
fucking
no
dog on a
FCC.
skateboard,
The
dude.
FCC
No
won't let
FCC.
us be, or let us be me. So let me see.
You know, you and me keep Austin Beard. So, Jake, did
Keep Austin
you?
Beers. My
keep,
son Austin.
keep lost in beers. Hope I didn't lose any beers. Hey, queers, drink up. Jake, did you? I heard a rumor that you directed the lot.
Yeah.
That's not a rumor.
I wish it
It's
wasn't
true.
a rumor. I want it to be, yeah.
That's a trumor.
Well, I haven't. It's a tremor.
It's a Harrison Trumer. Harry S. Trumer. The Trumer Show. Trumer has it. Trumer Willis.
Tubman.
Harriet S. Tubman Trumer writes.
Huh?
Harriet
Hi, I have a
Tubman.
question for Texas.
Harriet Tubman. Just like.
Do you have any advice on people shorting Apple stock?
I guess I had one piece of advice to be don't.
Yeah. For any question.
Yeah, for any question. All right, so Jake, was that a first foray for you? You're a writer by trade. Yeah, I think you consider yourself writer, performer,
Yeah.
and then that was
it.
that was it for.
Right.
But directing was always of interest to you.
It was, I guess, like only passively, but really it came from like, I wanted this web series where I think we both did. We like really wanted it to star Amir. We didn't want it to be like just Jake and Amir. And at first I was thinking that I wasn't even going to be in it at all.
Totally content with
Yeah.
that, by the way. You
So-
were like, I'd be totally down to just see this
Yeah, I
through.
thought it'd be really, and I mean, like this happens all the time when we're making Jake and Amir. We direct each other, so I was like, I'm good at directing Amir. I'd be afraid to direct anything else, but I feel like I could work with him and get the best performance. And if it's not starring me, then I'll direct it and Amir stars. And it felt like a nice, even split. And then as we were talking more about the idea, it like became clear that there would be a good character for me. So I did that. But my character is like not. quite as he's not so prevalent in the series.
When you guys were doing the scenes that you do have together, were you both sort of directing each other in that same kind of ping-pongy way, irregardless of the the ensemble being present?
Yeah, and our DP would also direct me.
I think you were still directing, even in those scenes, you were directing me more than I was directing you.
Yeah, I guess I was always directing a lot.
Because in the instance, Amir, where you would direct Jake, and those, it would probably just be as an addendum to anything. Although, yeah, you would be Jake as a director. You'd say, "Keep your eyes on me." Anyone,
right? There was still a lot like going on in my head while I was in the scene, and I think a couple times, Amir and our DP Bobby Lamb, who was great, said. I would think it was done, and I was like, all right, we got it. And then Bobby would just so shyly and politely come up to me and be like, actually, I think you might want to be like a little angrier in this scene.
Whoa.
I was like, do you mind? Is it okay if I just tell you?
And then Jake would just flip out on him.
Yeah.
And Jake would be like, what's your name, man? And he's like, oh, Bob, I'm the D. And he's like, no, what's your name, man?
Who do you know?
You're the director? You're the director now? And he would look at him in the eyes.
Do you want to sit in my chair?
Are you the... You should say that you're the director to everybody, not just
it's not like that, dude.
All right, so we got a new director.
No.
Congratulations, everybody. Bobby Lamb.
Give it up for Bobby.
He's
new
also
director.
going to teach me how to take a shit later, right? You're going to follow me home,
man,
tell me how to shower, how to fuck my girl. Huh? You want to tell me how to do that, Bobby?
Okay,
Hey, look, I looked
get
at
it.
playback. It actually is pretty bad.
But I discovered it on my own.
I understand it, dude. I understand it.
But the reason the show looks so good is because of Bobby. The cinematography is so beautiful and better than
It looks
anything we've
amazing.
had when we were making the Jake and Amir show. It looks like a real movie.
How did you bring him aboard? And was that in part the producer? Did Vimeo hire a producer, assign someone, or how did that whole thing? How do you find these?
We just
these
knew that
people?
we would need a DP because we didn't know anything about lenses or cameras.
Right, because you're not setting up a Sony Elf on a tiny tripod.
Yeah. I think Vimeo also wanted us to deliver on a higher quality format, so we really need to get real cameras.
Sony's Elf.
You know how it works is you hire one person and then they sort of hire everybody else.
Yeah.
So we got Jillian, Jesk, and Alex Kerna, who just started their own production company called Brevity Wit.
Right.
And we're like,
Shit.
all right, we hire you guys to help us make it. Because Jillian helped us produce a bunch of Jake and Amir videos. And we're like, oh, Jillian's great. Whenever we need something done, she does it. And we don't have to worry about that part of
She
that
was a
process.
producer of Jake and Amir videos. Okay, got it.
freelance producer for
Towards the
College
end
Humor.
of your time. Okay,
and then she's like, I'm starting my own production company with this guy, Alex, who we didn't even know, but we trusted Jillian. And not only that, but...
that might be my phone. I apologize.
It's okay. We can't quite hear it on camera.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
And then so Jillian suggested Jillian suggested Bobby as the DP.
And then Bobby comes with the team.
And you just
Bobby
and
has his
Jake
own
are,
team.
well, both of you. You're both looking at all of these people's work as they're recommending.
and we had worked with Bobby before.
Okay.
He shot something two things we did with College Humor.
Sponsored
and I
videos.
met him also outside of work, and he's a really great guy. And then when we met, I remember at first we were even talking about somebody to assistant direct me or somebody to direct some of the episodes in addition to me. And I was like, I don't think I want to work with another director because that's, I don't know. It's just
Especially not an Asian one.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
I
I didn't want an ethnic.
I didn't want to scream at a.
Yeah, you can say.
I didn't want to scream
Just pick a name out of a hat. Anybody.
at a Purvis. I didn't want to
I was
scream
gonna
at a
say.
Purvis.
So we met when we met with Bobby. He seemed to really get it. He was like, I know that you need help with technical aspects of camera stuff, and you don't necessarily know the lingo of that might be helpful for somebody who's been directing for a long time on set. But so he was really helpful to work with me in that sense, but he didn't second guess things when I wanted.
He didn't make you feel like an idiot. First of all.
He did not, and he would also explain to me a lot of the times what different lenses we're going to do and what it might make it feel like, and he would show me if I didn't know exactly what I wanted, he'd show me 3 different things, and then I got to.
He had this iPhone app that showed you different lenses. Do you have
Artemis,
that?
it's fabulous.
Yeah, you sort of went through the same thing.
Yeah,
You're
you
a
are a
performer
director.
turned
Absolutely.
director.
I just found out the difference between zooms and primes.
Right, and I still
Those are
don't know.
different kinds of
how
lenses.
you can't zoom in on a prime lens.
You can't zoom in on a prime lens. They're fixed fixed. They're often better, beautiful, more preferred by
But can you say, let's shoot this
cinematographers.
on a 35? Like, do you know what that looks like versus like a 50?
Yes, I do. So the lower the number, the wider the lens, the higher the number, the longer the lens,
Right.
and the harder it gets to pull focus. But these are things that, as I was an actor who turned into a director and who had my directing partner when we do stuff together, Vince is a DP by trade.
So Vinny was
that
kind of like the
yin-yang.
Bobby.
Yeah.
And you were kind of like
yeah.
Jake.
Yeah, exactly. Because I can do comedic beats extremely well. That's like and then when it comes to where do you put the camera? What is the best?
Right. Yeah.
But when you work with each other, if you and Bobby continue to do projects, you're going to end up sort of it's by nature the whole thing.
Right,
By
you
osmosis, you end up going like, let's add a little more fill there, and you're like,
I'm turning.
there used to be sunlight right there. But yeah, you just realize that, oh my God, yeah, I'm become the real deal. It's just the nature.
Yeah, I mean,
of it.
after 10 days, I think it's all,
Yeah.
I've forgotten all of it already, but after 10 days, I was like, I
then-
felt very good.
And Vince and Bobby start to get a little nervous as you start using the phrases that only they know, and they're like, "Oh
And
no!"
they have to come up with
suddenly
new
I've
phrases.
I've become obsolete, and you're like, "That's right. I do know that you need a 35. What do you do?"
He just hears the term cardellini clamp, and his heart sinks. Yeah, Jake just said he wanted to rig that Kino on a Condor, which is also not preferred, but wow, he knows the lingo.
We can't do it, but still.
Yeah. What happens when the translator is no longer necessary? You know what I mean? As
Well,
we
someone
Someone still has
develop.
to put the lenses on and stuff.
Oh, that's true.
Cardellini clamp. That's an exciting thing. So, and for you, Amir, you were happy to take the role of, well, obviously you're leading the show, but to be directed by
Yeah.
Jake in its entirety.
It was great because we found out, or at least maybe became comfortable with the roles of like, I don't necessarily know or care like where the camera is
Right.
and what's in the background and when people should cross and like how that should look. But I do like trying to like say the lines in the most funny way, or like try to like act by myself
course,
in a
yeah.
room. Like if I'm in a hot tub by myself masturbating, how do I make that look the funniest?
Yeah.
It's hard not to make that look funny. But Amir made it look the funniest for sure.
I know, like, my technique would just be to go, just to say "ow" very quietly for a full 60 seconds.
That's
as I'm doing it.
we should reshoot the scene.
Yeah, you should be in season 2.
Excuse me, and even quieter,
So we were-
even more quietly. Excuse me, I would say, you just hear, it's salt water.
Like season
It's
2 was
salt
just
water.
a different guy, right? What if it's just all Josh?
Oh, like True Detective.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's what we were saying,
So
like,
just setting me up for it being worse.
Season 2 was
Excuse
just
me.
about season 2 is like about a date that you've seen the least, like the girl that beats me at arm wrestling.
Right.
I do think you should do season 2 or at least season 3 in Israel.
Well, that'd be great.
Wouldn't that be dope?
Setting season 2 or 3 or wherever in a different city would be really, really
Yeah,
fun.
that'd be amazing.
It could be Austin,
Be like
New York.
girls.
That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if enough people pre-order and enough people like it, then the odds of us making more episodes goes up.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. I guess so.
It doesn't really affect me much.
Do you guys think my hair looks good? Or
Yeah, it's a good length.
What were there in terms of prep for you, for both of you?
We actually got to run, man.
Got it. Cool.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. The Mindhouse, Picos, the Mindhouse, Pookies, L and Horny. Did you have to? Did you scout? Did you get on the phone with locations and
We did.
wardrobe and do all? Did you do that together? Were you like, cool, Jake? You know what you're looking for. You go. I'll hang back and answer emails or whatever. Did you go prep together basically?
We did.
How was it? What was that process like?
I think we realized we needed 3 locations because this place we wanted to give it like a home base, almost like Jake and Amir was set in the
Right.
office. So we shot in Amir's house,
Ruby's home.
Ruby's home, and we scouted that for a while because we had like an idea of exactly what we wanted it to look like. We wanted it to look clean and modern and put together, and like this guy should be fucking everybody.
It's almost like Patrick Bateman's like,
Yeah.
I live in the West Garden building on 57th Street.
yeah.
And then the classroom, which we wanted to look like a sad middle school classroom, and like these creeps just rent it after all the kids go home. So we found like a studio that has a full classroom built inside it, and it was great. It looks like the Boy Meets World high school. It
Oh
looks like
yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Feeney's
It looks
class.
awesome.
And then and then the bar where Amir always takes his dates.
So he always recommends where to go. Is it always the same?
It's always the same
bar.
Yeah, you want to go to Brazos?
Yeah.
Cool. We should go to Brazos.
I think
It's
we
kind of
call
like
it
what
study
actually
hall.
happens when you start online dating for a lot. You know, you're just like, I don't want to go to like a million different places. I'm just going to suggest this one
It was
spot
always
down
the back
street.
bar at the Bedford for me, where all my Tinder days. I'm not even.
Yeah.
It's not even a joke. It's kind of sad, but it was a good.
You have a
find
good first date
place.
spot.
I used to
Yeah.
bartenders used to just like make fun of me at what was that bar? The counting room over in Williamsburg.
Yeah, of course. The counting room's it's
It would
romantic.
I went in
it's
there
cool.
one time by myself, and he was like, "You're finally not with a random date."
Oh, who is it tonight? Amanda?
How did you know? How did you know that?
Oh, come on, dude.
How did you know that?
The Mindhouse. Poo-coast. So this thing's kind of all right. So you have the web series. So Lonely and Horny's a thing. It's rolling. Headgum is rolling. What's the other piece of your guys' life these days? You had a pilot with True TV, which didn't get picked up. Which
Yeah.
fuck
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Fuck that. Yeah, you had it.
That's a good idea for a podcast. Just call it "Fuck That." And people.
Yeah, you had a pilot that didn't. Who would think of not to get you? Built-in audience. They have a built-in audience. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. Podcast.
Who were you getting mad like right there?
Oh,
Chris Farley?
Oh, it's a little bit of a. Yeah. That move is Chris Farley, and fuck that. I don't know who is that.
Half
It's
of
a little bit
sneeze.
My brain hit my skull 3 times, and now
A
I'm a serial killer.
micro-concussion.
Now I could qualify to be in the NFL documentary.
Oh, come on. Oh, that is so unfair.
Concussion.
Yeah.
Concussion. I know the truth. I know it. First of all, the pilot situation. You guys worked hard on that. Was that?
Yeah.
This is a stupid question, but I want you to talk about it for a brief second. Was that a major letdown, dark moment where you went, "What the fuck are we gonna do now? I'm worried about." Did it worry you? Did it freak you out? Did you have a backup plan?
Yeah, it was a lot of like smiling, like through shame and like awe, like surprise.
Yeah.
Like imagine sprinting and then getting hit by like not seeing a bar, like running into a stopped
Right,
bar.
and you're hurt, but your like primary goal is just to convince everybody that it wasn't that big of a deal.
Like, oh, like you know when you
Yo,
get
you
hit
really
really
hurt
hard.
your-
Nah, I'm okay. Shit,
Yeah,
I just do you have
fine.
ice?
I'm fine. You're like your handshake,
Yeah.
like everything else
like
is fine. but-
blood coming down your coat.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
I'm fine. After a car accident, I'm fine.
I'm
Getting up
fine.
and walking away.
I'm fine.
You really shouldn't walk, sir. Sir, are you okay?
I'm fine. Clearly not.
I'm fine. But I think I realized almost, I don't know what.
It's a spider when he's dead.
I think I realized like 3 weeks after or a month after that I had been depressed because I'd like never been really sad in my whole life. And I wasn't, and it seemed like I wasn't, but I guess I was sort of like just getting short with people and I wasn't making as many jokes.
Really?
And then something good must
You
have
stepped
happened.
outside
Maybe we got like
yourself.
lonely and horny or I don't
Yeah.
know, but like whatever it was that like got me out of that funk, I like looked back and I was like, oh, I've been sad. I was just
Shit.
sad for a month.
Yeah.
And
Did you
it's-
feel the same way?
It wasn't sad. It was sad, but the saddest part was telling people. Like I was over it, and then like 2 days later, like I have to be like calling my parents, being like, "So they didn't pick up the show," and like people don't know the nuances of show business, so it's just like people being
I'm
like,
so.
"Oh, you didn't make a good show. I'm sorry, it wasn't good enough."
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's
No,
So
like,
a lot of
fine, it
people
was
back home
good.
too think it's like your one shot. You're like, oh man, that was your pilot. That was your career. Now what are you gonna do?
right,
Well, I
right.
still-
well, I can't
I've got other
imagine
things that I'm
at
gonna
any
work on.
point that they didn't tell you from every department that it's not gonna go. Like
Yeah.
everything must have been. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, I mean when it
I
happens.
heard.
No, I mean if it happens.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
So
How many
much-
episodes can you guys make if you get 6 months? When can you start? All right, pass.
You know how crazy it's gonna be. Anyway, let's just jump cut to season 3 because it's going to happen, guaranteed.
Also pass. Wait, what?
Shucks, it didn't test well.
Passed. It passed.
Oh,
your happiness is in the past. It's in the past.
Yeah, and it felt like running into a wall, and then the only way to like it always felt like, all right, this is going to be a blessing in disguise. No, this is a good thing, but it's hard to see it right away, and you just have to like figure out what else is there. And it's probably lonely and horny because we get to make this show that we represents us more now because we created it like 9 months ago rather than something that we made like 10 years ago.
Right.
Well,
it's
yeah,
something that we
you
find more
also
fresh.
won't when you're doing a web series or you're doing a Vimeo project, you don't wait for a year and a half of your life to see it,
Right.
get off the ground, right?
And people can consume it directly. We don't have to sell ads against it. We don't have to like conform it. It's
Right.
100% our
And
voice
like
and
it's
vision.
fucking coming out. Well, yeah, it's gonna be like I remember doing the pilot and putting all that work in, and like thinking about wanting to share that with people and wanting people to watch it and wanting to make 12 more that people will watch. And it was a bummer that didn't happen. But while we were making this Lonely and Horny thing, I remember at one point I said to Amir, I was like, this is going to get released.
Yeah, people will watch it.
Which is very
It
exciting.
was an exhilarating
it's not
thing
like we were
to
making a pilot.
Absolutely. Well, to show the trailer in front of the kid, the
Yeah.
crew each time,
That was-
in front of your audience, like that's so dope.
And then we're gonna try to show like full episodes once it comes out. Maybe Vimeo will let us show the first episode.
Like live shows, we can do that. Yeah, absolutely. That's such a great part of what you guys do because the live performance piece of your careers that's sort of taking off. That's only going to support the show as well. Are there tour dates? Coming up.
Yeah. Do you know when this episode's coming out? Either way, we're going to DC, Boston, Brooklyn, and New Haven.
We're in Brooklyn.
On April 6th, we're going to be in DC. April 7th, we're at the Music Hall in Brooklyn.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
in a month, less than a month.
Do you have a booking agent that does all this? Do you call them yourselves? Does Marty do it?
Marty does it.
Marty does it,
Really?
yeah.
No.
Yeah, we have a touring agent who just every once in a while will like send us something and say, will you guys do this show?
And usually they'll do you call it a tour, so it's like 2 days. Every show's 2 days or a day or so apart. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a mini tour. We
Yeah.
can't.
I think we're a rare comedian group that doesn't like being on the road very much. So when they're like, oh yeah, it's going to be 10 days, 9 cities, we're like,
It's pretty exhausting.
let's make it 4 days, 3 cities.
Yeah.
So you guys, well, I mean, I feel maybe a piece of that is like, whatever, we're all in our 30s now. You kind of get over that piece of it. If you were
Yeah.
like 25, you'd be more than down to go straight through. Is
Yeah.
age a piece of that, or is it more just like, you
It's-
don't like being away from home?
No, I don't mind being away from home. It's age. Definitely, you get tired quicker. And then also, our show isn't stand-up, so like we have to prepare anew for every show. Come up with new questions.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it's an advice podcast.
Right.
Right.
And it's like you have to
We
like
don't have a set. We just like
we have to get our energy up. Like we have to like be on. You know, like
Yeah.
comedians that you see like, oh, they're on. So we have to
Yeah.
like, and we don't naturally have this like on energy. So like
Yeah.
by the end, like once it's done and then we meet everybody and it's like we've given so much energy that I'm sort of an empty shell
Yeah,
at
they
like
all
have a
11
piece
p.m.
of us.
Yeah, they all take a little bit, and then
and
what's
they
left
keep
at the
it,
end.
and we don't get it back.
And for what? $10 and a handshake and a ham sandwich.
For
we should
what?
get better deals at
the
these shows.
A direct deposit of salami. I mean,
Room number 11X5, anything at Radisson at any town, USA.
swipe my key card. The sound of the kabeep is also the sound of my synapses giving up. That's really exciting, dudes. God, it's you making it happen. Is there anything else that I don't know that you guys want to mention about Vimeo? Was Vimeo working with Vimeo a cool experience? From what I understand, if they trust you, they don't need to see scripts. Was that the
No,
case for you guys?
They
They're just-
100%, more than 100% freedom. Not one note from script to cuts to post-production.
What about
Zero.
the poster? Did they do the poster? Did you
No,
say
we
here's-
did it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
They're
They
like,
just-
you guys, which is how it should be everywhere. Like,
Absolutely.
TV
They
is
were just
like,
like, they
we
just-
love you guys. Here's what you should do. It's like, well, if
Right.
you love us, then
Hey,
let
your
us do
comedy
it.
is really funny. Can
Yeah.
we make a show for you?
Yeah.
So they just gave us money. They were like, "What's your idea?" Okay, we like it. We're
They-
going to give you money. We
They
went
enabled
away.
us, and we came back with these things. And they either look good because they trusted the right people, or they look like fools if they trusted the incorrect people.
How does the back end model work if there is one? Do they cut you that check? Then once they hit the number that they cut it to you for, do you guys are there residuals?
I don't
know if
know
you
how
guys can-
public that knowledge is.
It's in all of the announcements.
Yeah, the
split?
Vimeo. Well, because
The split? The
The on
revenue
demand
split?
is a 90-10, right? I believe.
It's public information.
But they don't. That budget aside, that's not part of it. I want to talk about how much you're gonna make, sir. This is Freakonomics.
I'm
90-10.
holding your W9.
You're turning red.
So where was
Amir's
this?
being audited
Actually,
right now.
Chris, let's cut to the
live
W9. Okay, so
tax
now we're
audit.
looking at the W9. So we're gonna just have Chris scroll down here.
Loser.
Okay, so
Laser
we're just
fan.
gonna now
So where
this
did that
number.
income
Now that's
come from?
state and no, that's not state and federal. That's Yonkers. Okay, so you guys are still paying in New York.
Where did you incorporate your LLC?
44915. So is that between you, split between you two? Excuse me. 90-10. Wow. 44915 before commish. L and Horny. Amir is John. Amir loves this. This isn't a bit. This is pure discomfort. That's what it is. How does it work though? In terms of, do you
How
often
much cash do you have?
do you take
How much
your
do you
girls
stand
out
to make?
to
Here, hold
say
his arms. I can get
Guero's
his phone. We can log into his Charles Schwab account.
TDBank.com username Amir Blumenfeld
Your
password.
401k. How much of it is spent on cash on
What
the
is
sidelines?
Password is Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse. All the E's are 3s, all the I's are 5s, all the L's are 12s.
The L's are 12.
It's so long. 22 characters.
I don't think there's a single I in that.
Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse. Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse. PLAIHOIS. And all those are 12s. All the elves are 12s. Sony's elves, if you know what I'm selves. Guys, thank you so much for letting me do this video cast. I appreciate it.
Hell
You
yeah.
invited me down to Austin. We can
Yeah,
we can
thank you
party
for
now. We can
coming
talk
to
about your
Austin.
residuals.
Yeah, let's eat food and hang
Residuals.
out and have fun tonight.
I love that.
I love
Sweet.
that.
I love that. Thank you guys again so much. I'm going to touch you in your frame, and then I'm going to reach out of my frame to touch you in your frame.
Black hand touching us in our room.
It just doesn't ever make it. It just disappears because there's sort of a black.
We're actually 2
portal
miles
wall.
apart. We're not in the same room, but through the magic of movie editing, it'll seem like we're sitting on the same couch.
The eye line is just so off. So, what do you guys? How long have you guys been a duo? All right, cool. Cordellini clamp. Thanks so much, guys, for
Thanks.
watching the Mindhouse
Thanks for having us.
on Headgum.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
That was a HeadGum podcast.